Hello world, welcome back to the Razor RC, and I am super excited. I'm not just saying that because this is bringing me back to where I started with Razor RC. Those of you who've been following the channel for the last 7 years, especially if you've been here from the beginning, may know that the very first video I did on the channel was about the Hyper TT. So that is a 110 scale electric 4-wheel drive race Truggy, I guess, from Hobao. And that was the very first video I did, the very first car I reviewed. I made a series of videos on that, explaining how to tune it, how to get drive better, lots of stuff on that. And the reason I'm super excited is they have just released this, the Hobao Hyper TT 2.0 110 scale electric 4-wheel drive Truggy. And this is a complete revision to the car. I am very familiar with the original. I did actually sell mine, so I don't have it anymore. But I'm very, very familiar with this platform. And the cool thing about this is it seems like they've completely redesigned the car and addressed every single thing I ever talked about with the original. So I made a bunch of videos talking about, things I would change, little tweaks and stuff, upgrades I did. And they've completely revised the car, so it's amazing. So here's what it looks like. It is 110 scale, 4-wheel drive. You will have to attach the wing. It does come with two different color bodies. So you got a silver one, which you would have to sticker up, or you can go with the blue one, which I think is actually looks pretty cool. And these are full on Lexan. You can see the clear windows and stuff. So they are actually painted, which is unusual for an RTR. It does come in two versions of ready to run like you see here, or a roller, so that's pretty nice. I will have a link in the description below where you can pick one of these up. I think the RTR is about $400 and the roller is like $270-ish. But yeah, the original was a little bit cheaper. I think about 40 or 50 bucks, but that was like 7-8 years ago. So with inflation and everything, I think the price is pretty much the same. Radio comes with is this little guy here, the Hobao HB 2.4 gigahertz V2. I have used this radio before, so I used it on their Nitro car. Not the best radio, I think, but it's adequate. For an RTR, it works fine. Cool thing, comes with a program card, and you might wonder what is that for? Well, it's for the ESC, so you can program the ESC on this. As you can see, it is a Hobbywing ESC, and then a nice little 540 size can motor. Here is the servo, the Hobao HB 5518MG, so metal geared servo. Those are all the electronics that will come in the RTR. It does come, basically completely built. I think if you get the almost ready to run, you do have to paint the body and stuff. Maybe glue up the tires as well. But yeah, the ready to run, if you don't want to build it, you got this option. Some other cool things about this car is that they do sell a bunch of optional parts. So there are different springs. The rear ones are a little stiffer. A lot of carbon fiber pieces like the shock tires and the braces and stuff. Lightweight drive shaft down the middle. Aluminum hexes. It does come with plastic hexes out of the box, and maybe an upgrade you might want to do. But it's a pretty cool looking little buggy, and we're gonna kind of talk about now in depth a little bit. So the chassis, aluminum plate chassis, it is machined, CNC machined, as you can see, really, really nice. I think the original was a stamped piece, so it looks like an upgrade there. Looks like about 2.5, 3 millimeters in thickness. It is kind of curved up here on the side. Going down the middle, once again, they did make a lot of changes. So the electronics layout is totally different than before. They used to have a lay-down servo, and then you would have to basically mount the ESC on top. Motor has been moved all the way to the back. As you can see, the rear drive shaft off the center diff goes straight into the gearbox. So there's no dogma or anything like that. It is, I guess, sort of a direct drive from that rear diff into the center diff there. Two chassis braces down the middle, so a lot of stiffness, not just a single one. They are aluminum pieces with rod ends and a little bit of brace up here up top. Here's the little wiring for your motor to ESC. Receiver antenna up here. It does come with an antenna tube. Another big change they did was to lay down the battery. So a lot of provisions for like a shorty, for a full-on 2S stick pack, something like that. Battery straps as well. The original was actually a vertically mounted battery, if you can remember that. And one popular mod was to actually lay it down. So that is nice that they include that. There weren't much provisions for like different size motors and ESCs and stuff. You were pretty limited on the layout. Had more of like a nitro style layout, where the center diff was right in the middle, so with your nitro engine. I think they also had a nitro Hyper TT as well. But yeah, they've basically modified the whole layout just to make it much more normal I think much more accommodating for 10 scale electronics, getting all the weight down low. Everything used to kind of be up top, and that was, you know, a bit of a pain, or not really a pain, but sort of a performance degradation, I think, in the original. Another big upgrade, they have an aluminum top plate here. So the original was plastic. That was one of the weak points. It would tend to crack, break. Does have redesigned Ackerman bar here. So again, one of the major issues with the original is you didn't have much steering throw. So they did redesign that. They have an adjustable servo save here integrated into the steering rack there. Servo feels very stiff. I think this might even be the same that they use on the 8-scale buggies and 8-scale vehicles that they use. Shocks are completely redesigned. Nice aluminum shocks. They look 12 millimeter to me. So they did change they were shocks. The originals, I think, were like 10 millimeters. They were really skinny, sort of like Traxxas Ultra Shocks. Different springs as well, adjustable collars, so really nice. I think they're plastic collars and plastic caps, but the shock bodies themselves are aluminum. They do have little covers for the shock shafts. Upper arms, lower arms, all completely new. They're the same geometry, I believe, as the original. Pivot valve, suspension. They do have inserts that you can buy as well if you want to stiffen up the arms. But yeah, completely redesigned arms again. That was one of the things that could break on the original. So it's nice that they've modified that. The pivot ball blocks here. So again, that was one of the areas that could break. Popular mod on the original was to get aluminum ones, and they do sell aluminums for this from Hobao, so that's pretty cool. You can upgrade that if you like, but we'll definitely try these out first. They have been beefed up, so that's nice. CVAs up front. Dog bones in the rear. I think that's the same as before. You could buy the CVAs and mount them in the rear if you like. Tires look completely the same to me. I don't notice any difference between the wheels and tires. They are, I guess, technically a dirt style, very soft foams. But I found, upgrading to something like Perline trenchers or something actually provide more grip if you're running and doing some bashing in the dirt. Other changes. So the body posts, I can't tell if they're different. I don't remember the originals too well, but they are quite flexible. The shock towers are all new, nice machined pieces. The originals were stamped sort of a blue color. These look way, way nicer. So like all the materials on this thing are a huge step up from before. So definitely worth that price increase in my opinion. Rear arms are different. So these have been adjusted. I believe the rear hubs are the same. They do make aluminum rear hubs if you want to do, upgrade that. That is an option. Sway bars front and rear. And yeah, other than that, pretty much all new. Oh, the other modification I see is that they do have now pills in the ABCD blocks, so that way you can adjust toe, you can adjust kick up. Again, that was one of the things I commented on before. It had a lot of rear toe. I can't tell if this is the same. Looks like about 3.5 degrees or so, but the old one had a ton of rear toe, kind of locked in the rear. And one of the videos I made was actually to reduce the toe by swapping the arms left and right and reversing everything. Actually, that would give you less toe, kind of free up the rear end, not make it sort of locked in so much, allowed it to corner a little bit better. So it's nice that they have those adjustments. A lot of different shock positions here on the arms and the towers. Everything is pretty laid down. Something I would probably consider doing is making the shocks more vertical, especially here on the rear. I'd probably move the bottom arms in a bit. There's not a ton of droop in the rear. As you can see, the front is a little bit lower than the back. You typically want the back, fair amount lower than what it currently is. Four-wheel drive is not as big as two-wheel drive, but that is something I would probably play with and adjust. But yeah, there's a quick look at the Hobao Hyper TT 2.0. We're going to throw in a battery and get this thing out driving, and that's the next step. All right, we got a 2S pack in there. I did mess around with the suspension a little bit in the Ackerman setting. It just seemed like it would probably drive a little better. We'll see. I did move the rear shocks into the middle hole on the arms as well, just to get a little bit more droop. But yeah, first run, we got 2S in the car. Okay. This tire's hooked up a little better than I remember. A lot better than I remember. I don't remember the tires working well at all. But yeah, this thing has got a 3900 kV motor, so it's think it's really meant for 2S. A bit of nosedive, but it drives like a race truck, I'll say that. Brakes are strong, but not out of control. Wow. I will admit, it was a lot better than I was expecting. Let's get out of here. So it is got a 3S capable ESC, but the motor is really a 2S motor. So if you wanted to run 3S, you definitely want to run a different motor. Little big boulder there. It's also not a basher. I'd say it's really a race truck. I mean, you can bash it, but like, I don't know why I'm jumping it off this thing, but I feel like I kind of should, right? But already, I would say the durability is a big improvement over the 1.0. I don't think the 1.0 would have survived a lot of this stuff, for sure. Move these rocks out of the way. Seems a bit big. Oh, should have moved that rock too, I guess. So good traction. Actually, drive is very balanced. I did make some changes. So I did move the Ackerman setting to the front position. Should give it a little bit more steering. I did move the rear shock, like I said, on the rear arm to the middle position, and I think the top to the outside position on the shock tower. Tighten the shock preload collars a little bit, front and back. Set camber and tow and all that. But I guess it's pretty dialed for and then the tires, I've used these tires quite a bit in the past and never found them to work very well, but they're hooked up today. They work well. This dirt, at least. This dirt, this condition. I will say the power and the speed, you know, definitely. Oh shoot, a little bump there. It's definitely 1/10 to 2S. It's not crazy fast or anything. Shocks are working actually a lot better than I thought. I thought the tuning on this would be not that great, but it works well. And so far, durability is, oh, pretty good. This nosedive a bit in the front, so maybe you want to run like a 2S shorty with the battery in the rear. I don't know. It works well. On a track, this thing would be awesome. So much fun. Okay. Like an outdoor. Yeah, outdoor 10 scale track. Oh, this would be awesome. I would say this is more hooked up than like most Looks like A-scale tires I've got. Steering, yeah, steering's on point. A little bit of oversteer on this. Works pretty good. Feels like the mesh or something might be a little bit tight. Oh, tough hit there, but yeah. There we go. First run of the Hobao Hyper TT 2.0. I'll say this exceeded all my expectations. Durability, steering, handling, maybe a little bit lower on power than I was expecting, but you could always change that. Yeah, worked really well overall. So let me know what you think about this little truck. We'll be doing more videos on this, of course. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe buttons. Look for more videos soon. Thanks for watching.